Hi guys, ako nga pala si Ramil Magbuo from IT2102 and today I will discuss or I will tackle about the chapter 2 in CNE 1 entitled the Configure a Network Operating System. Every computer requires an operating system to function, including the computer-based network devices such as switches, routers, access points, and firewalls. These network devices use an operating system called a network operating system. What is operating system? Operating system is all end devices and network devices require an operating system. As shown in the picture, it have three parts: the shell, kernel, and hardware. The first one is the shell. It is the user interface that allows users to request specific tasks from the computer. These requests can be made either through the CLI or the GUI interface. The second one is the kernel. Kernel is to communicates between the hardware and software of a computer and manage how hardware resources are used to meet software requirements. And the third, it is the hardware. Hardware is the physical part of a computer, including the underlying electronics. In the figure 2, the command line interface or the CLI. This user or the user interacts directly with the system in a text-based environment by entering commands on the keyboard into a command prompt. The system executes the command, often providing textual output. The CLI requires very little overhead to operate. However, it doesn't require the user have knowledge of the underlying structure and control the system. The figure 3, the graphical user interface. The graphical user interface, such as the Windows or OS X, Apple iOS, or the Android. It allows the user to interact the system using an environment of graphical icons, such as the recycle bin, PUTTY, and the menus, and the windows. The GUI example is the more user-friendly and requires less knowledge of the underlying command structure that controls the system. For this reason, many debugs rely on GUI. And now, the CLI access points. Access methods is a Cisco IOS switch can be implemented with no configuration and still switch data between connected devices. By connecting two PCs to a switch, those PCs will instantly have connectivity with one another. The first one is the console. The advantage of using a console port is the device is accessible even if no networking services have been configured, such as the performing and initial configuration of the network devices. When performing or a computer running terminal emulation software is connected to the console port of the devices using a specific cable. This console or this physical management port that provides out-of-band access to Cisco devices. Out-of-band access refers to access via dedicated management channels that is used for device maintenance purpose only. Now, the second one is the secure shell or the SSH. SSH is a method for remotely establishing a secure CLI connection through a virtual interface over a network. Unlike the console connection, SSH or the secure shell connection require active network devices on the device, including an active interface configured with an address. The third one is Telnet. It is the Telnet is an insecure method of remotely establishing a CLI session through a virtual interface over a network. Unlike SSH, Telnet does not provide a securely encrypted connection user Authentication passwords and commands are sent over the network in plain text. Yeah. The last is the AUX. The AUX port is out of band and does not have required network services to be configured or available. It is the telephone connection, or like that. Now let's proceed to the activity. The activity, okay, let's reset. The activity access method. The instruction, select the most appropriate access method for each scenario. The first one scenario, you can choose the console, telnet, or the SSH or the secure shell, or the AUX. The first one, you are in the equipment room with a new switch that needs to be configured. A new equipment with a new switch. Okay, it is a console. Your manager gives you a special cable and tells you to use it to configure the switch. Configure the switch, it is a console. You access the IOS by using another intermediary devices over a network connection. From the word another intermediary devices, it is the telnet or the secure shell. And the fourth one is the you call your manager to tell him you cannot access your router in another city over the internet. He provides you with the information to access the router through a telephone connection. From I discussed earlier, the AUX is a telephone connection. It is a AUX. Let's check. Okay, done. It's all correct. Let's proceed to the second activity. Configuring a network or configuring password encryption. Why do we need to encrypt password? The starting up configure and running configure files displays most password in the plain text. This is a security threat since anyone can see the password used if they have access to these files. To encrypt a password, you must do this. Let's try. Let's try service on password encryption and enter. Switch exit. Switch is the switch show running config. On the output is the line 0 or the line console 0. The password is the slug in the line VTY04 password. This is the password, and then you successfully encrypted the plaintext password. To encrypt password, use the service password encryption or the global config command. The command applies weak encryption to all unencrypted password. This encryption applies only to password into the configuration file, not to password as they are sent over the network. The purpose of this command is to keep unauthorized individuals from viewing password in the configuring file. The next activity, the limit access to a switch. This is the limit access to a switch, encrypt all passwords, secure the privileged EXX mode for the access, secure the console access, secure the BTY access. So let's proceed. Let's service password encryption. Let's enter. Secure the privileged access with the password. We need to enable secret and the password, the CL, the class hi-fi. Okay, secure the console line. Okay, let's try the line console line 0. The password, use the password Cisco, Cisco, and then enter. You must to log in. Let's try that. Enter. Secure the first 16 BTY lines, or the line. The first one is to line BTY 0 and 15, because it's the line of 15. Let's enter. And now we get the password Cisco. Enter. And then flag in. You have successfully limited access to a switch. Let's proceed to the next one, or the last. Configure a switch virtual interface. Configure a switch. Enter the interface configuration mode for VLAN LAN. Configure the IPv4 address as and subnet as 255 and enable the interface. Let's proceed. Interface. Let's interface VLAN 1. Enter. And switch the IP address. IP address 192.168.10.2, and subnet is the 255.255.255.0, and then no shutdown. Oh, enter. You have successfully configured the switch virtual interface for VLAN 1. And this is the last activities. Now we go to have the summary. The summary is of the chapter 2 is the Cisco is a term that encompasses a number of different operating systems which run as the various network devices that technician can enter commands to configure or program the devices to perform various network functions. Cisco IOS routers and switches perform functions that network professionals depend upon to make their network operated as expected.